The last player to have 200 carries at the running back position in a year and also 10 punt returns. It's been a while. We'll get to that in a second. Very interesting. Sean McVay comes out and says Kyron Williams is going to return punts for the Rams. Interesting stuff, considering the fact that he returned 3 punts and 1 kickoff last year. A couple of things that we want to get into here. We've been a little quiet the last week or so. We will be amping up all of our content over the next couple of weeks as we get ready for the regular season. So a lot is going on in the world of the Rams right now. First of which, to me, the biggest news, Ernest Jones getting traded to the Tennessee Titans and basically getting nothing in return. We've seen this happen before. And look, in Les Snead and Sean McVay, you got to trust here. Ernest Jones playing out this rookie deal, wanted the extension. The Rams weren't comfortable giving the extension. Omar Speights is a guy, watching him at Oregon State, then covering him at LSU, very good in the Pac-12, not as good his year at LSU, but he's had a really good camp. And I think they believe that Christian Roseboom, and Speights are guys that are good enough to give you the production Ernest Jones did. I don't know if I see it. Ernest Jones, 24-year-old guy, was basically a steal, a fifth-round guy. Just a couple of years ago out of South Carolina. I thought he was fantastic. 145 tackles last year. Really hard to replace that. 14 tackles for losses, 4.5 sacks. I think that is a bigger deal than any guy that didn't make the 53-man roster. Now, we can go through that. I think there were a couple of surprises. I think the coaches liked Zach Evans. You just never saw the explosion out of the backfield. Boston Scott was a fan favorite in Philadelphia. He's already been picked up by the Steelers on their practice squad. The biggest surprise for me, though, was Xavier Smith not making this team. Xavier Smith is a guy that you thought, obviously undersized. We talked about him on We Are Ramley before, was going to be a guy that would make this team. The problem for Xavier Smith and guys like Drake Stoops, and I like Drake Stoops a lot. I think Drake Stoops will end up being like a third option on an NFL team in the next couple of years because this is a guy that will bust his ass and he will make sure that he makes a roster. Watching him at Oklahoma walk on a preferred walk on, he got better each and every year, and that's going to be a weapon that Jackson Arnold at Oklahoma will miss this year. Anyway, with that said, Xavier Smith, Drake Stoops, not surprised about Drake Stoops. Little surprised with Xavier Smith. The problem, and it's not a problem, it's a good problem, the Rams have a ton of depth at wide receiver. I just didn't know if Tyler Johnson, and I know he's a veteran presence, I didn't know if he was going to be able to get that final receiver spot. I thought it would go to Xavier Smith. Outside of that, I don't think there were any massive surprises. Again, Ernest Jones, you started to hear the rumbling about wanting the contract extension. If not, he wanted to be traded. He posted something on Twitter. He since pulled it down. He's on to the Titans. They're in a rebuilding situation. Of course, the Rams were in a rebuilding situation last year. They win 10 games. They go to the postseason, had every opportunity to beat Detroit on the road. So sometimes in the NFL, it is such a league of parity that you can see a rebuild situation quickly turns. I have no confidence in the Tennessee Titans with Will Levis at quarterback. So that was kind of a story as the Rams cut down to 53. Cannot wait to see this defense and how good they will actually be. Another story, though, the Rams announced their 2024 captains. On offense, no surprises. Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Rob Havenstein. Havenstein and Cooper Kupp, more so the fact that he's missed time over the last couple of years. I think this is going to be a big year for Cooper Kupp. Not only do you have the complement of Puka on one side, but if Cooper Kupp can stay healthy with a healthy Matt Stafford, we remember how good this guy was. Basically, you knew the ball was going to him a couple of years ago. It didn't matter. Those are your three offensive captains. And defensively, I think this shows you Chris Shula, Sean McVay, how impressed they are with these two guys that are so young. I mean, you look at Kobe Turner, only in his second year of professional football. He's a captain for this Rams team. Quentin Lake will be only his second year as a starter in the league as a nickelback. He is your other defensive captain. They're your five captains right there. No surprise on the offense. Really no surprise with Kobe Turner outside of the fact that it's only his second year. And it really is his defense now that Ernest Jones is on to Tennessee. But Quentin Lake, kind of a surprise there. I know he's a locker room guy. I know this roster absolutely loves him. But we started this off talking about Kyron Williams. And I think this is absolutely fascinating because growing up and watching the Rams all my life, there were two guys that I thought were electrifying punt returners. And the first was Akeem. In that magical 1999 season, I remember one of the first punts he took to the house was against Cincinnati Bengals on the road. It was late September, maybe early October. It was one of the first 3 or 4 games in the season. And you knew Akeem was a great weapon out of San Diego State. The other one, when Tavon Austin came out of West Virginia and the Rams selected him, I think it was like 6th, 7th, 8th overall. I thought he was going to be tremendous. And he had his moments. The Rams fans that watched Tavon, just retired a couple of weeks ago, never was the player that I thought you would get on a consistent basis. Had the flashes, obviously was really good in space, had some electrifying punt returns, but not the threat that I thought he would be week in and week out. I thought he was going to be next level. Well, now Kyren Williams is going to be a guy returning punts. A couple of things to look at. First of all, you don't want your starting running back to go down on an injury on special teams. Now, you do want a guy that has the ability to flip the field, and I think Kyren Williams can be that guy. This is where I thought Xavier Smith would come into the fold. Now that Smith has been cut, it looks like Kyren Williams, obviously with Sean McVay saying he's going to be the guy. I think what's really interesting is Kyren Williams, as good as he was carrying the football out of the backfield. And look, that is this Sean McVay offense, as you guys know, predicates on play action and on effectively running the football. We saw it with Cam Akers en route to winning a Super Bowl. We saw it last year when the Rams got hot second half of the season, en route to the postseason with Kyren Williams. Kyren Williams, 1,144 yards rushing last year, 12 touchdowns on 228 carries. He had an NFL best 95.3 yards per game in the 12 games he played. First player in the NFL to finish in the top 3 in rushing yards, despite missing at least 5 games. 5 of the 17 didn't play. The last guy to do this, I didn't know it. I guarantee you don't know it. Bull Carlos. Bull Carlos was the guy in 1937 for, wait for it, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Not a football team, not a baseball team back there, a football team. Sean McVay said we wanted the opportunity to get him more touches. I think it shows you a couple of things. They've got a ton of confidence in Blake Corum, who did it year in, year out for Michigan, winning a national championship last year, and Ronnie Rivers, who I think some people might be surprised. I think Ronnie Rivers is a ball security guy. I think he's a really good third option. Could it have been Boston Scott or Zach Evans? Yes, but they go with Ronnie Rivers. But I think it shows you that McVay has that much confidence in these two other backs that you can roll the dice, so to speak, on a guy like Kyren Williams returning punts. I think that is fascinating. Here's another thing that I just came across today, and I don't know if you guys have seen this, because I'm not going to say this is going the way of the dinosaur of the 300-game winner in Major League Baseball. The thing that I would say about this, and I'm about to get into quarterbacks that have 60,000 regular season passing yards. There are 2 guys that can achieve that milestone this year. And with me bringing it up, one of those guys has got to be Matthew Stafford, one of your captains for 2024. The other guy, Aaron Rodgers, makes a lot of sense. Missed all of last year after that first drive with the ACL injury. Right now, Aaron Rodgers only needs 945 yards. Matt Stafford's got to have a solid season, and he's got to stay healthy. If he stays healthy, he will get the 3,945 yards that he needs to become the 9th or 10th quarterback to reach 60,000 regular season passing yards in their career. Nobody else actively is close. I think Flacco is the next guy behind Matt Stafford. I think Flacco needs like 20,000 yards. He's never going to get it. Will never start probably 5-10 more games in his life. Really good for Cleveland on the stretch last year, but I don't think Joe Flacco is going to get there. So you start to look at the quarterback money that these guys are making right now. Jordan Love, what he got paid, what Justin Herbert just got paid, what Trevor Lawrence is getting paid. You just wonder if these guys are going to hang around and stay healthy for 10 to 12 years, and they're able to achieve this. I just think it is fascinating when you look at the other names on this list. Dan Marino, 8th all-time. Matt Ryan, 7th all-time. Phillip Rivers, number 6. Number 5, Ben Roethlisberger. Number 4, Brett Favre. Number 3, Peyton Manning. Number 2, Drew Brees. And number 1, of course, is the GOAT, in most people's opinion, Tom Brady. This is another one of these milestones where I think Matt Stafford's already locked in as a Hall of Famer. But you can go on and get the mustard jacket to Canton if he does get 60,000 regular season passing yards, because this is just something that hasn't happened. Anyway, just recapping again, Kyren Williams returning punts. I think it's awesome. Your captains, Stafford, Kupp, Havenstein, Kobe Turner, Quentin Lake. The big news for me, though, Ernest Jones to the Titans. I absolutely hate it. I loved watching Ernest Jones play football. Good luck to him. I'm glad he's out of conference, though. I will say this. As we record this, we are just 10 days away from the regular season. The Rams kicking it off against the Detroit Lions in Ford Field. That Sunday night primetime game. Cannot wait. We will continue to give you more content, though. Just so excited about this season and what it holds. And give us feedback. Like, subscribe, share this. We would really appreciate it. We're going to try to build this thing. Again, this is a passion project, but we are massive, massive Rams fans. And we're going to be very objective. If there's something that kind of sucks this year, we're going to tell you that. I am only a homer so much. Look, I bleed blue and gold, but I can point out when, there's some shitty product on the field. I'm very optimistic about this Rams team. Even last year, I thought the Rams would be probably 8-9 wins, would be one of those teams probably not making the postseason, but would be good enough to probably call somebody else a postseason berth. I was wrong. Rams better than advertised, especially when you look at Stafford missing multiple games last year with injury. Big surprise. I think the offense is going to be so good this year. We got to get this offensive line healthy. You guys know that. But we are mere days away from real football with your Los Angeles Rams. We are family. Like, subscribe, share it. We would really appreciate that. We will give you updates on when we will be back on. But a lot of stuff, a lot of exciting stuff going on in the Ramley right now. And again, we appreciate you guys joining us right here on We Are Ramley.